So first of all, I would like to welcome who is chairing this webinar today, Shri NVS Rajputji. She is Joint Secretary in DRPG. The directors from DRPG, the officers from DRPG. We have invited two lead speakers to speak on their initiatives. Srimati Kanchan Verma, Inspector General Stamp and Registration, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Shri M. Prasanna Kumar, Managing Director, Gujarat State Electricity Corporation Limited. I also welcome all secretaries AR, district collectors of aspirational districts, senior administrators, eminent academicians, team NCGG, and others. So I would like to say only 2 or 3 sentences in this regard. Government of India has instituted the scheme, the Prime Minister Award for Excellence in Public Administration. It was restructured in 2022 also to realize the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji of a self-reliant India. These webinars covering award-winning initiatives will help different stakeholders to broaden their skills as well as to acknowledge the knowledge and that can supplement or complement their work areas. This is also in present time, the government has been trying to improve the citizen-centric services with new emerging technology, which can result in minimum government and maximum governance. That's why the webinar series, this can prove a great path in this regard. So basically the major objective of this webinar is to cover the Prime Minister awarded initiatives which has been done by the excellent officers in the administration, and this can be replicated at those areas where it is not happens. So this is the motive of this webinar. So for this webinar, I would like to welcome the chair, Shri NVS Rajputji, to to address the audience in this regard.
Thank you, Poonamji. Good morning to you all. I welcome you all on this fifth seminar of the webinar series on all the awarded initiative, PM's awarded initiative. Today's theme is environment. Today we have two speakers. One is from Government of UP, Kanchan Verma. Another speaker is from Government of Gujarat. In fact, for this theme, I would like to mention here that the Honorable PM has launched the mission Amrit Sarovar to have 75 water bodies in each district, roughly around 50,000 water bodies. Around more than 21,000 water bodies already covered, already completed. Each water body is supposed to have minimum area of 1 area with 10,000 hectare of 10,000 cubic meter of the water storage. On theme, first I invite Kanchan Verma ji to start the presentation. After this presentation, we will have interaction from all the districts who are participating. Thank you.
I would like to give the brief profile about the Madam Kanchan Verma. Srimati Kanchan Verma is an IS officer of the 2005 batch UP cadre. She is currently working as an Inspector General Stamp and Registration, Government of Uttar Pradesh. She has previously worked as Managing Director of Uttar Pradesh Medical Supplies Corporation. She was the Vice Chairman of Ghaziabad Development Authority. As District Magistrate Fatehpur, she was awarded the Prime Minister Award for Excellence in Public Administration for the year 2013-14 for the best initiative, revival of Sasur Khadedi. It's a local language. She was also awarded for Commonwealth Association for Public Administration and Management in the year 2016 and a State Award for Best District in Swachhta Abhiyan in 2017. So I would like to invite to speak on this initiative, Madam. But before this, we have a short film to show the audience. Akash ji, is it ready? Yeah, ये शेड्यूल में था.
आदिदेव नमस्तुभ्यं प्रसीद मम भास्कर दिवाकर नमस्तुभ्यं प्रभाकर नमोस्तुते आदिदेव
sun, the eternal source of light and energy. Energy that powers every aspect of planet Earth. Imagine
We can stop it.
endless
We
and
can stop it,
inexhaustible source of
Akashji.
energy
We may
to
start
power
from.
India and
Okay.
her ever-growing economy. By 2017, energy demand is expected to
Only one
increase
will be.
from 900 billion kilowatt hours to 1,400 billion kilowatt hours. Amid the challenging energy landscape, Gujarat State Electricity Corporation Limited has been dedicatedly committed to the cause of doing its bit in ensuring India's energy security. An engineering marvel and world's first 1 megawatt Canal top solar power project has been erected on Narmada Canal branch, located near village Chandrasan, Taluka Kadi, District Mehsana, Gujarat. This novel concept of using the readily available water canal network eliminates the use of land. This exemplary excellence and innovation is first of its kind at the global level. Photovoltaic solar panels have been mounted on specially designed and treated structures for a lifespan of 25 years across the canal top and run through 750 meters of its length. In absence of any past precedent that would have provided us with a cost structure and in keeping canal safety, ease of maintenance on highest priority, the pilot project cost 2.77 million US dollars, that is 17.73 crore Indian rupees. However, the costs are declining with the passage of time. Implementation highlights. The most noteworthy outcome is the opening up of new avenue of green energy generation using existing infrastructure. Successful commissioning within 6 months with no rehabilitation and resettlement issues. Saves land use conventionally at 5 acres per megawatt. Carbon dioxide, CO2 emission 1.28 metric ton per year, and canal water from evaporation estimated at 9 million liters per megawatt per year. Generation of 5,385 megawatt hours of green energy during the period 22nd February 2012 to August 2015. Running water underneath of solar panel brings down temperature of solar PV modules, resulting into enhanced power generation up to 2.5% by blocking direct sunlight on water. It retards growth of algae, resulting in less maintenance required for canal. Study has revealed that plant loses its capacity of 20%. That is, duration takes place by 25th year in case of land-mounted plant. While in case of canal top, 20% duration takes place after 43 years. That is, enhances the life cycle of plant. Canal top plant can provide reliable power for agriculture at the doorstep of farmers, offering both water and power, giving impetus to green revolution in India. The inherent ease and adaptability offered by the concept, such projects can be easily and flawlessly replicated at regional, national and global level. Gujarat State Electricity Corporation Limited, translating vision into energy.
So this was the film on the second initiative. Now I'll request Kanchan Verma to give a presentation on revival of Sasur Khaderi 2, that is for Fatehpur district of Uttar Pradesh.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity and the whole team there, sir. It is an honor to be presenting this presentation again, and welcome to all participants from different districts and states. The initiative which is mentioned here was a 2012-13 project. It was implemented in 2013, but the project work was started in 2012 itself. As you all are aware, somewhere around that time, the remote sensing data on blocks had started coming. So you had data being circulated and given to states to revive water bodies because the water level was falling in most of the blocks. So there was this information which was shared, and Even in Uttar Pradesh, there were where water is not such a big issue. Here also we had quite some blocks which were in the critical zone. So the blocks were divided into safe, semi-critical, and critical. So the district where I was posted in Fatehpur, there we had 13 blocks, of which 7 were in the critical category. So which meant that water recharge was very poor, and all activities which needed to use groundwater should be avoided, and there would be no new tube wells, no new hand pumps in those areas for the time being. So it was on that report that we started our work and thought of how we can work towards reviving water bodies in the district. Sir, can I share my presentation, or it will be shared from there, sir?
Will share, Sanjeev ji? You can also share the presentation.
Okay, sir. Sir, is it visible, sir?
नहीं centrally.
Sir, is it
We
visible?
can't. No. We can't see the presentation. We can just see on the screen where
Okay,
all
sir.
the viewers
One
are there,
second, sir.
not
Well,
the presentation.
1 second, I'll do that, sir.
आकाश जी प्रेजेंटेशन को ये कीजिए आकाश
इनको बुलाते हैं। Sir, is it visible now?
Yeah, now it's visible. Yes,
yeah.
please go ahead.
Sir, okay, sir, the project name was Sasur Khaderi 2 and Thitora Lake, sir. This is the location of Uttar Pradesh. Location of Uttar Pradesh in India, it's the northern part, and Fatehpur is a district in the southern part of the state. And as you can see, it's somewhere, it's in Prayagraj division. Sir, is the presentation visible, sir? I think.
आकाश जी ये दिख नहीं रहा प्रेजेंटेशन हेलो
एक्चुअली मैम वहां से शायद इसको हटा दिया गया मैं करता हूँ
हाँ अब ठीक
ये उनको बुला देते हैं शेयर करा लेते हैं ना हम ही कर देते हैं शेयर
Yes, now it's visible. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. So of the 75, sir, there are 75 districts in Uttar Pradesh, sir, of which we have 820 blocks. Fatehpur, where I was posted, had 13 blocks. Next slide. This is the map of Fatehpur district. It is located in the Doab region. Of northern end was Ganga river, and the southern was Yamuna river, and there were other small rivulets and rivers, and the population was around 25 lakhs. As I had mentioned that the remote sensing data was being used, and Uttar Pradesh, Fatehpur, we had 7 blocks which were in critical category. So it was planned, detailed plan was drawn up at the district level on how to dovetail Manrega with water revival projects in the state, in the district. Next. So this is the mapping how water resources are done. This is the part which remote sensing department does. They take an assessment of 10-year period, how much has the water decline been, and then they categorize. This report comes every every year, and that was, I think, for the initial times it had started and gained recognition, or districts and states had started working around 2013-14, and it was expected of all districts to work towards reviving water bodies and seeing that there are fewer blocks which are in the critical category over years. Next slide. Yeah, so this is the three categories in which blocks were categorized: safe, semi-critical, and critical. So more than 50% of our district was in the critical zone. So the project background was, firstly, obviously, to use Manrega, which all collectors and all districts have already done, is to revive lakes which are silted or encroached in all villages, so that there's work throughout in all the villages. Similarly, we had also tried to revive all lakes which were around 2 to 5 acre in all the 1500 villages of the district. But also we had thought of the reviving of this rivulet, which is called Sasur Khateri. There are two locations. There's Sasur Khateri 1 and 2. They are totally different, no connection, but similarly named. And Sasur Khateri 2 was it was fed by a lake which was called Thitora Lake, and it was 7.37 hectare lake. And this project was given to us, or the idea was given by Shri Vigyananji, whom I would I would want to bring on record, because he was a social activist and environmentalist there, and he was, for over a very old person, and over years he'd been trying to suggest that something should be done for the rivers of the district and try to revive them, because they've been in public memory. They've been very important rivers, and been lifelines of the district. So we had thought of taking up this project first, and for that we had to wait in the season which was decided, that first we decided that we'll do it through Manrega, and the other was that we'll start it in sometime April and May, when there's no water collection in the lake or river, and then people are free, or after the harvest season. So it was decided that we'll go ahead with this project. The reasons for extinction: the lake and the river was actually almost not visible, because it had been silted over years, and because of silting, encroachment had taken place. The farmers or villagers who had their farms next to the river had obviously encroached it over time. The lake also similarly was silted totally, and it was encroached also from all sides. So and plus, because of these reasons, what happened, that whenever there was no water recharge of the lake or the river, and similarly the other drains which actually feed the river or the lake, they were also encroached, silted over time. So the flattening of the slope and aggradation of river bed because of silt, all these multiple categories, plus you have the system of check dams which are unregulated at different points where people put up. So all this led to it being almost lost. So the objective was first to restore the 46-kilometer river to its original shape, and after doing obviously the work of freeing it from encroachment, and because the river was encroached or completely silted, the water used to overflow in the neighboring villages. There were 42 villages which fell on this stretch. So you used to have waterlogging in these areas every year. And the other aim was to revive the lake, because that was the source of the river, and ensuring that water is there throughout the year there would ensure that the river is fed, and making gated check dams at the point of where the lake actually starts off as a river, and increase
And
availability of water, and obviously the water recharge. So this is the river. First point was that we had to start with demarcation, because there were no boundaries, no clear this thing of encroachment and this thing. So we started with the demarcation. This work was done in November, December, January of 2012-13. So this was the biggest task to actually see to it that the land is clearly demarcated, no farmer is upset that his land has gone off, or to convince the farmers that they have to let go of this land, this is the river bed area. So this was the biggest task. This was the groundwork which took 3-4 months, because of which the project could actually be completed in 2 months later when the actual work was done. So the challenges was first convincing the farmers, because obviously they've been using the land for so many years, decades, and to suddenly demarcate it and ask them to leave it. Then availability of labor, because the project had to be planned and started and closed in a very small window of just we were planning 50 to 60 days. So that was the time which we had planned, and the temperature, like you know, in North India is very high in May and June, 42 to 45 degrees. So, and the river bed and the lake also, they were very hard and parched, because water was not there for decades, and it was actually just dry land. Next. So these are the different strategies which we had used, which I'll come as we go into the presentation. Okay, the formulation of the project was we the in this we all the departments had to dovetail, because it was a major project, and the revenue department, starting with the revenue department, which actually started the groundwork by demarcating the whole lake and the river. And the project was made by the lower Ganga Canal division, the irrigation department, and they actually took out their old maps, and they had tied up with the revenue department to demarcate it. So the project was first conceived as we decided that river, first, once we give it a shape or give it a there is a minimum amount of earthwork done, it will automatically find its path and it will move along. So it was not like we do lakes or ponds which we do in Manrega. So this was differently thought of, a quinette shape, that one third to one fourth width will do the earthwork, and then the river will automatically, once there's a shape given to it and the beds are duly designed, then the river water will automatically flow. So the project initial was started at 4 crore, which was all sanctioned through Manrega only. A cross section of the river was taken, and it was planned like this: every kilometer we had a cross section planned out, how much excavation has to be done, how many man days would be created, how many labors would we need if we have to do it in 30 days, 40 days, different time periods, what is the this thing, how many cards we have in that area. So all Manrega cards. So this is all the exercise which we are done for every 500 meters. So the implementation strategy obviously was to get everybody on board, because yeah, this is a project which was extending to 42 villages, and every village would have to participate, otherwise it would not get completed on time. It has to be simultaneous. All the 42 villages, they would have to do it simultaneously. So we had meetings with all the 42 villages. We had meetings with every village, convinced every pradhan, the people who were workers there, that we should who were ready to work in Manrega, that they should come forward for this project, and it's a short project of 40 to 50 days, and it will get implemented soon. So this was the survey work which was done in November, December. This is all revenue department work. The SDM and the irrigation department with their maps had done the marking of the land and all that. So it was done. This was done by February, March. By March they had completed this work. Next. Okay. and after which, and also the revenue department had to convince and ensure that every farmer, like I mentioned, was convinced and did not feel that he's been treated or she's been treated unfairly or some land has been taken. So every inch had to be measured and given, so that the farmer is convinced that nothing of his land has been taken in the project. So the 46 kilometers, we had divided it into 1 kilometer each for easier management. And this 1 kilometer, we had a team of a junior engineer, the Gram Pradhan obviously was in it, and the Rojgar Sevak, and the local Lekpal, so that they would all tie up together, and that 1 kilometer stretch was their responsibility, and they would see to it that the work was started on time, and the laborers had enough facilities, water availability, tent availability, and all this was done at village level. So every single kilometer work was going on simultaneously in the 42 villages. So 1.25 kilometer whatever fell in whichever village. This also meant that we didn't have to travel or move laborers from one point to another, because which we had to do for the lake, because the lake was a very big lake, 7 hectare, and only 3 villages touched it, so its boundaries. So we needed much more labor, which we got from the 5 kilometer radius, which was permissible in Manrega in those time, in 2013 guidelines. And there we had to bring in laborers from other villages, but in the actual stretch of the river we could manage with the labor which was in the villages itself, 1 kilometer stretch. So 1 kilometer planning of every single kilometer was done. The project was a single project, but 1 kilometer stretches were done and given to the team so that they could implement it in totality. Okay, and the main thing in this project was, obviously it was completed, but the thing that you need the support of the whole district, because so many lives are touched, and it needs so much of coordination with the different departments, and you have to convince people that it's for their good, that the water in the river again will mean that they'll have water supply for their fields, they'll have the water level will go up, there will be no water logging in their area, plus a sense of cultural loss, that people should remember that yes, there was this river, and they remember that mela lagta tha, and we used to go there and have some occasions pay and all this, so that memory, you connect with that memory, convince them that they should also be part of the project. So every day there were around 5 to 7,000 people working on the project every day. And like I said, the lake side, there were villages from different other villages also, because that was a huge project on its own, the lake. We had students, volunteers, we had left a stretch, 1 kilometer stretch for Shramdan. So every day some college, some school students, some association, they used to come and volunteer, and on that 1 kilometer stretch, everybody did it through Shramdan only. And it was also good for publicity and this thing, newspapers, and the press was on board because of that. So that was a point where everybody, somebody, some or the other association used to go there and work on that 1 kilometer stretch. And also there was these associations and groups, they yeah, did some CSR also, like giving juices and food to the laborers who were working on the lake, on the river side. So it was a people's movement. Everybody at that time, I think, if you see the newspapers or the district news of Fatehpur, it was only this. Everybody was excited, and it was everybody was connected to the project. So even if they were not doing Shramdan or not directly involved with the project, they wanted to go there and at least give some food or drinks to the people who were working there, do some donation, do something. So it had the support of everyone. So this is the Shramdan stretch. There's this 1 kilometer stretch which students only and college students used to come and do that. And VIPs also, when they used to come, they used to do Shramdan here at this 1 kilometer stretch. All the district MLAs, MPs, they had come and for symbolically only for some time, but had come to that stretch for Shramdan. And this is when we were almost reaching the completion point. This is Vidyananji. He was the one who had mentioned that I've been trying this for 30-35 years, that this project should be taken up or somebody should revive the rivers of the district. So our whole team, our PD, CDO, SSP, so everybody was involved with the project, and everybody was working towards that goal. So these are some of the pictures of the implementation, because at the site of lake it was a huge 7-hectare lake. So like I mentioned, we had bought in laborers from other villages also, and there was a machinery component also in that. And because the villagers had come from they were laborers from other villages, we had made provision for them staying in the local primary schools. As it was May and June, there were holidays in the school, so we had made up temporary arrangements in all government buildings. Like the work site, we had to ensure that because of the high temperatures and hard work which is being done, that there is good working conditions, proper tents are there, medicines, water. The village nurse, ANM, we had got the CMO to also ensure that it was all medicines or anything required. ORS, a huge quantity of ORS, just to replenish the laborers, and glucose, and all this was there. Goodwill of the, like I mentioned, the NGOs and organizations who had come to provide food, snacks, and drinks at the site. And like I mentioned, the vacant school buildings were used at the lake side. The river sides we did not need, as it was that 1 kilometer project. So the villagers were doing, the village where it fell were doing it on their own. So it was only at the lake side that we needed special arrangements. And we had also arranged with the banks to have mobile payments. They used to come to that place, get all the, and make cash payments there through that was the starting point, first time project where they had initiated this in the district. So this was the work. This is the kilometer stretch of the village part, so every village doing their kilometer bit. Next photographs only. This is the lake area. So this was a huge this thing. So now this is the starting photograph, I think, when there were fewer people, but at the peak it had to be done by 7,000 8,000 people per day, because this was the biggest in the whole project. Also, this was the place where maximum laborers had to be engaged. Also, maintaining the slope was very important, because once you have excavated earth and put it on the side, it is very easy just after that, from July August, you have the monsoons in UP, for the mud to flow back. So the sloping and also seeding and plantation was done simultaneously, so that the at least some strength is there with the mud which has been excavated and put on the sides. Okay. Okay, so the actual project, that is the manual work, was started on first week of April and completed by 15th June. And like I mentioned, the seeding plantation work was done. You have drumstick plants which are very easy to catch, take root. So they were used, grasses of all kind of babool, which do well in Fatehpur type of climate. All these things which would grow fast and actually hold back the soil which had been excavated. And there was a gated barrier at the lake point. That was the only barrier we gave. Otherwise the river, we had no dam or check dam or whatever. We had kept it totally free.
I think slide is not moving. Okay. 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 Okay.
um, there was a part
There's a power cut. There is
this
a
and
power cut, Rajesh.
yes, yes,
Please
there
go
was a
ahead.
part so, okay, so only like I mentioned, the only gated barrier was at the lake, at the mouth of the river with the lake. So this is after the completion. The final measurements had to be done by the team, and for the final closing of the at least this phase of the project. Yes, and after the rains, there was water available throughout the year for at least quite till last, what I know, 2 3 years before that. The lake is now always full. The river is also full. So it's worked in that sense that the project has been working, and also a lot of follow up projects also have been taken up by the subsequent officers who've been in the districts, like clearing up. Another part of all these kind of project is that the feeders to the main lake and river also need to be desilted and worked upon. So there are some 8 small drains which go to the river. There are 4 small drains which end up in the lake. So in the past, after I left the district in October, when the project was completed in June, and after that, but the officers there continued with clearing up those side drains, so that it is still better catchment of water is there in these in the river and the in the lake. This was thought of as the next phase which we would take up. So it was continued by officers there and completed.
ਮੇਰਾ ਅੱਜ 30 25 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗਾਣਾ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਨਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ
I'll request to mute all the mics, please.
So this is after the monsoon sometime October, November. So outcomes of the initiative, one was obviously that the drainage of the catchment area had improved. There was no flooding, no water logging, and there were some studies done by the Center of Science and Down to Earth magazine, and sometime in 2014 they had done an independent survey and a review, and a considerable number of farmers had indicated that they had actually started growing paddy because water logging and the quality of soil had improved drastically. A lot of wells had again replenished and there was water. So that was a good outcome in the increase in the area of cultivation and the productivity. And the discharge, as you can see, for a dead river, it was quite good that we had 689 cusecs at the first second kilometer. These measurements were done in just after the rains in October, November, and subsequently for next 2 3 years they have been taking these numbers to see that if there is a deterioration or the water levels have maintained because of this project. So because of like in all water initiative projects, the impact for environment is obviously that the soil quality improves, the water catchment area increases, the groundwater table level will show in the table later increased drastically. And for the along the river, along the lake, we had planted trees almost 35,000 to ensure that uh, not just to hold back the mud, but also that that stretch is demarcated forever, that this is the boundary of the river where the trees are growing along. So that was also done, and massive plantation drive also in that sense. And innovations of all type, dense seed sowing was there, some grass seeds were there. All these our forest officers had told plants which would grow very fast or would take root very fast were all were used. Next. Okay, socio-economic benefits, as I said, that it was a project as Manrega project. Also, we had created almost 2 lakh mandates in just 45 days, and not counting the mandates which were separate for this plantation, this thing for maintenance, the drains which were cleared after that. So, a lot of labor on this project was, even in the subsequent years, was generated on this project. And no marooning of any village in that year took place. And because of people's participation, I think goodwill with the administration and for similar projects was done. In fact, last month only, the Sasur Kaderi one, the other rivulet which we had planned at that time, that we'll do it after this phase. The present DM has taken up that project, and Sasur Khateri 1 is also going to be revived on these lines only. So this is people are now more ready to take up projects of this kind. And because similar and in Uttar Pradesh, I would mention that many projects, many collectors and districts have done similar projects. In fact, every year I know of 2 3 projects in some district that collectors have taken up, have revived some rivulets like Mahouba, Jhansi, Kanpur, Shravasti, Amroha. I was there for 4 months. I done another project there, Auraiya. And even last year, Muzaffarnagar, Ayodhya, 2 projects were done there. So in UP, it's been received well, and every district is working on some rivulet to see and revive that. And as sir mentioned that with the Amrit Talab Yojana also, it is On those lines also, water revival is a major work which officers in Uttar Pradesh are carrying out. So this is the ground water level measurements which we had done at that time, the readings, and this was through by the groundwater department. Although these readings were confirmed more or less by other independent organization which had later come in from for at different years 14, 15, they kept coming for their own research and their own study. So it's been collaborated by other independent sources also. Next. And this is the yield for different crops, which was again done by agriculture department in the next year, after I'd left a year or 1.5 year later data. It had impacted not just the area under cultivation, the crop yield, the groundwater level availability, water in the well. So it was in one go. The project had managed to not just revive the river and lake, but also the agriculture pattern of 42 villages which fell along. Way forward is obviously that which very happy to mention, sir, that officers in UP are taking this forward, and like I mentioned, I think at least 15-20 projects similarly have been done in UP, and it is a good project. In one go you can have 50-60 villages covered, their water levels improved, their issues resolved, other issues also get resolved when a project of this sort is taken up. Ground level water improves. And another thing which I would mention is in similar projects is to always keep in mind that apart from the main river, we should also pay attention to the drains which are flowing in, because they are your feeders. If your feeders are not clear, the project of the lake and the river, everything is pointless, because some sources are feeding the river and lake. They have to also be kept in mind and part of the project to clear them also. Administrative lessons, as every one of you have done in your field work, that it requires a lot of collaboration with all the departments, get everyone on board, convince everybody. In fact, when we sent this project for the award, we had PD, my XCN irrigation, me, and there was another officer of PWD. He was an MTech in environmental studies or something. So he was very interested in the project. So we got him also, and his J is also of PWD. They were also part of the project. So in district, you'll have different resources where you can see that anybody who's interested can be part of that project. So this was the newspaper coverage for that time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Now I'll request Sri M. Prasanna Kumar, who is MD, Gujarat State Electricity Corporation Limited, to give a presentation on Canal Top Solar Power Project.
Here is a brief profile of Sri M. Prasanna Kumar. Sri M. Prasanna Kumar is the Managing Director of Gujarat State Electricity Corporation Limited. Prior to joining this department, he was heading a vertical of National Thermal Power Corporation Limited as Executive Director. He was also appointed as Chairman of Western Region Power Committee for the year 2021-22. Sri Prasanna Kumar has a very nice career spanning over 3 decades in power sector, and had worked through the ranks of the reach to the top position of Gujarat State Electricity Corporation Limited. In the year 2013-14, Gujarat State Electricity Corporation Limited, Mehsana district, was awarded the Prime Minister Award for Excellence in Public Administration for the Canal Top Solar Power Project. So it was very nice project, and now we welcome to speak a lead speaker to address the audience.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah,
Yeah.
audible. Please go ahead.
Respected Sri Rajput ji, Joint Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms, and distinguished participants of this 5th webinar under National Good Governance Series. At the outset, I wholeheartedly appreciate the efforts of NCGG in sharing the good practices across the country in the interest of nation, and also thank for selecting our project for presentation in this distinguished webinar. I am M. Prasanna Kumar, Managing Director of Gujarat State Electricity Corporation. I am privileged to present the path showing initiative of world's first 1 megawatt canal top solar PV project, a direction to green and clean energy. Share the presentation. Sir, is the presentation visible?
Not yet. I think we are uploading. Na? Poonam ji?
Yes. Akash ji? Akash? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It's presented, ma'am.
Yeah, now it's visible. Yes.
I'm Prasanna Kumar, Managing Director, Gujarat State Electricity Corporation. Go to next slide, please. Generation at the doorstep and energy independence for the society is the vision of our great leaders. Next slide, please. This is the outline of my presentation. Gujarat State Electricity Corporation is a power generating company of Government of Gujarat, generating electricity in almost all modes of power generation: coal, lignite, gas, hydro, solar, wind, catering to the needs of Gujarat state effectively. It has emerged as the best generating company in the country with excellent operational performance, capacity additional performance, and many new initiatives for generation of green power. As on date, there is a grave need to cater the challenges posed by climate change and global warming that threaten our ecosystem and sustainability. So the dependence on fossil fuels need to be tapered down to a great extent to ensure that the sustainability is maintained. Next slide, please. Next slide. The sun has been worshipped as a life giver to our planet since ancient times, and India is endowed with vast solar energy potential. Almost 5,000 trillion kilowatt hours of energy is incidented on Earth per year, with almost 4 to 7 kilowatt hours per square meters across the country. Our country has added 60 gigawatt of solar power in last so many years, and around 40 gigawatt is under construction, and the country is having ambitious target of reaching 300 gigawatt by 2030. But all these outstanding achievements, all the results of visionary and courageous initiatives way back in 2010, 11, 12, when world's first canal top solar project was successfully inaugurated by then Chief Minister and now Prime Minister, Honorable Sri Narendra Modi ji. Anticipating this requirement 10 years back. Next. Next, the main innovative initiative was combining the Saur Urja with Jal Shakti by installation of world's first canal top solar generating plant for generating clean and green power with huge carbon emission reduction, ensuring energy security, power at doorsteps of villages, reducing the transmission losses. The solar panel cooling effect because of its location that results in higher efficiency as compared to ground mounted solar power projects. Land conservation, no necessity of land for this project, reduction of evaporation loss, and reduced photosynthesis that results in less algae formation by blocking the radiation. Next, please. See, in 2011, Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat and now Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, he put forth a challenge to the private sector for establishing a solar plant on a canal. That was a new initiative that time. While the private sector apprised the idea, there was reluctance from their side. At that point of time, Gujarat State Electricity Corporation took the initiative to establish the pilot path-breaking project and took the challenge. The contract agreement was signed on 9 September 2011 and the project was completed within 5.5 months period. Today, the concept is now proven and replicable entire country with all its advantages globally. Next. Coming to the roles and responsibilities, the project proponent was Energy and Petrochemical Department of Government of Gujarat. The project owner was Gujarat State Electricity Corporation. The site owner was Sardar Sarovar Narmada Nigam Limited. And the power purchase agreement was with Uttar Gujarat Vidyut Company Limited. And financial assistance was from NABRAD. And EPC contractor was Mrs. Sun Edison Energy Private Limited. Next, please. The project site was on the Narmada Branch Canal in Chandrasan village of Kadi Taluka, Mehsana district of Gujarat. Next, please. There were a number of major implementation challenges because the project was first of its kind in the world. This was to be designed taking all the factors into consideration. The main challenge was the project was to be designed without any damage to the canal as well as without affecting the flow of water in the canal because the movement of the flow of water in the canal was by gravity. Also because the manufacturing of components was also not new to all the parties. This was a major challenge. All these challenges were overcome after proper design, taking all the systems into consideration. Next. This is the technical specification of the project. The capacity of project was 1 megawatt and the canal length that was used was 750 meters. And total 3,616 panels were used and the total project cost was 17.73 crores. And the project was commissioned on 24th March 2012. Next, please. Next. Next, this is the view of the project. Next. During last almost 12 years, the project is performing exceedingly well, generating on sustained basis, and also reducing the CO2 emission to a great extent. Next, please. See, that was the first canal top project in the world, and the main advantage of the canal top project is that the solar panels are located above the water, so that creates less temperature difference between the top layer of the solar cell and the bottom layer of the solar cell. That improves the efficiency of the power generation by almost 2.5%. So the generation from canal top solar power plant is more than the ground mounted solar installation because of the improvement in efficiency by more than 2.5%. Next please. These are some glimpses of the project that was inaugurated in March 2012 by Honorable Prime Minister, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Sri Narendra Modi ji. Next. Next, please. Next. See, the valuable insights and significant sustainability measures are this is a green power generation and at the doorsteps of the farmers because it is on the canal. And the grid strengthening can happen because even the power can go to remote consumption centers. The increased reliability of power and reduction of almost 12,80,000 kg CO2 per year. Alternate development, most precious and finite resources of land, because land is not required for this. In the existing canal, we can install this power plant. Saving of water. This is very important point. Saving of water by reduction in evaporation, almost 9 million liters per year. Water evaporation can be avoided by installing this solar project on the canal. And this also reduces the silting of the canal and reduction in transmission and distribution losses. And it also retards the growth of algae and total generation of almost 1.49 crore units since inception till 2022. And it is performing exceedingly well even today. Next, please. For this innovative project and the initiative, we received many awards. Prime Minister's Award in 2013-14, Global Solar EPC Award in 2014, 7th India Power Award in 2014, and India Tech Excellence Award in 2012. Next, please. The replicating potential, the project can be replicated in any part of the world where canals are available, and even in Gujarat only 458 kilometers of open main canals are available, and we can install these projects, the projects on any of the canal without any restriction in water flow or in any direction. Can be used east, west or north, south, any direction. Next, please. Based on the success of this new initiative, a national policy for canal top and canal bank solar project was issued by MNRE in 2014, and many capacity additions across the country are taking place in line with this policy. Next. These are some installations that that were replicated after success of this 1 megawatt Chandrasan project. Almost 125 megawatt are already installed, and almost around 400 to 500 megawatt are already under planning stage and installation stage. Sir, continuing the initiative which we have taken almost 11 years back, we are aggressively adding renewable capacity, and we are having a plan to add around 7,500 megawatt in the coming 4 to 5 years. And we are developing a solar park at 3325 megawatt Kevada hybrid RE park, and we are executing government wasteland project of 2,500 megawatt. The first wasteland project of the country is already commissioned at Chandarwa in Botat district of Gujarat. And we are going for floating solar, wind energy development, and also we are the first generating company to award a battery storage plant at our Kutch thermal power station, where the works are progressing on fast pace. And we are also going for green hydrogen projects and development. I thank the organizers of this webinar for giving me the opportunity, and I should thank my GSCCL team. Without their committed efforts and initiative, this is not possible. I also thank the then Managing Director of Gujarat State Electricity Corporation, Sri Gurdeep Singh ji, who is now CMD of NTPC, for this initiative that time and executing it successfully. I also thank our Principal Secretary Energy, Government of Gujarat, Minister of Energy, and Chief Minister of Gujarat for giving me the encouragement and initiative for successful completion of all these projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Prasanna Kumar ji. We had very good presentation by Srimati Kanchan Verma ji and Prasanna Kumar ji. Now the floor is open. We can take few questions from the audience.
Is there any question, please?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
My question is, sir just mentioned in his presentation that green hydrogen energy. What is this project like? If somebody can give any inputs, and what are the government schemes which promote this?
Prasanna Kumar mentioned.
Sir, green hydrogen is the.
They mentioned this.
Can I answer, sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, green hydrogen is hydrogen generated from renewable sources. So we are trying to have a pilot plant in one of our gas stations where the hydrogen can be used in for blending with liquefied natural gas for running a gas power station. So we are trying to install a pilot project. Sir, Government of Gujarat has come up with the green hydrogen policy, and green hydrogen park is also being developed in the state of Gujarat for moving towards the hydrogen economy.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I have one question. I am from Tripura.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, myself is M. Burma, Director General Trader. I have seen this Canal rooftop. Thanks to the MD. Now this the per megawatt cost during the time of the 12-13, it was 17 crore. So what would be the now likely cost for this at present level in the Canal rooftop? If you share, then it will be a good for learning.
Certainly, sir. Sir, that time this was the pilot project. That's why many precautions and the safety factor was taken very high. That was the reason the cost was 17 crores. But in the recent installations, that is as low as 8 crores per megawatt. So it is comparable with ground-mounted solar, which is almost now 6 to 6.5 crores per megawatt. So here the land requirement is also not there. So with further, if you go for a mass installation, this can even come down to 7 crores per megawatt also, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, hello. Am I audible? Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Yes, we
You are
can hear
quite
you.
audible. Please introduce yourself
Yeah,
and
yeah.
put forward your questions.
I'm AK Sinha speaking. I am Director Technical in Bihar Power Generation Company. I have a very small query. What is the expected, or even now that this project has been commissioned, what is the tariff from that canal top power generation that you are doing there?
Sir, that time that was being a new project, that time the tariff was 14 rupees per unit.
Okay, but now that I hope this was when the cost was around 17 crores per megawatt that just you told us. So now that it has come down to 8, so has this been calculated that what will be the tariff? Is there any new project going on there on the canal, and what is the tariff, expected tariff for those projects? Can we know that?
Sir, as on date, many projects are going on in Punjab, I think, Punjab and many parts of the country, and the tariff derived was around 3 rupees, 3.3 rupees 20 paisa.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. So yeah, 3 rupees or 320 is for the canal top project, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Namaste, sir. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Am I audible, sir?
Little. I think mic is not very close.
Yes, sir. Now is it audible, sir?
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, this is Priyamvada Patnaik from Government of Odisha. I'm working as a scientist in Odisha Climate Change Cell, sir. Sir, first of all, I would like to congratulate for the very nice presentation by sir and ma'am. So my question regarding the lake top solar panel installation. I just want to ask, sir, the required solar installation which is naturally fall in the lake water, after the installation of the panels, whether the same amount of solar installation fall inside the water for maintaining the life inside water like the flora and fauna, what kind of measures are taken that the panel won't affect the flora and fauna inside the lakes? Thank you, sir.
Madam, I could not hear you. Can you repeat the question briefly?
Definitely, sir. Definitely, sir. So, I am asking, sir, after the installation of the solar panel on over the lake, sir, the required solar installation which is required for the flora and fauna inside the water, whether the panels restrict the solar installation or any kind of measures have been taken before the installation of the project, sir.
Madam, there was after installation there was no problem in the any water flow or any problem in the characteristic of the canal, because that was ensured during the design stage.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's a question from Manipur, in fact. Is your canal is concrete lining or it's a normal kind of lining? What about the canal? What's the grade of the canal and then?
It was concrete line, sir.
Okay, okay. So then the generation is going to put into the grid actually. Under the
Pardon,
synchronization.
sir?
Are you putting into the grid after synchronization? Is it not?
Yes, sir. It is connected to grid through 11 kV substation.
And what about the tariff for this by the regulators? How much the unit cost it has come, roughly?
Sir, I already told because that was being the first project. That time the tariff was 14 rupees, but as on date the tariff came down to even 3 rupees 20 paisa in many places.
1/4.
1/4.
Achha, it's a little on higher side.
Yes.
Otherwise,
that time the solar.
Otherwise, you must have a problem. RPO also must be there. This RPO purchase obligation must be there. So you must have been doing that. Not an issue. So tariff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So whatever normal supply tariff otherwise, if you talk about the general
Sir,
grid.
normal supply tariff as on date that varies with different this thing that is varying from 2.4 to 3 rupees.
But then how you? But then consumers are probably you're losing when you supply to the consumer and collecting money from there. That means you are losing at certain end, no? Because you are collecting 4 rupees and then buying things. How you manage that?
Sir, actually, see, sir, that time the tariff was high, but still the initiative was taken and successfully installed that project, because of which the RE power generation expanded like anything in India. So it is a very small capacity. That's why it doesn't much affect the tariff supplied to consumers.
Because the quantum was less, that's the reason only. Otherwise, the quantum is more.
The quantum was less. That's why the average comes to be very less, close to 2.5 to 3 rupees only.
When the system was put into the grid and you don't have any problem for the synchronization as when the system frequency has fluctuated, but you have a certain mechanism of feedback so that it can match properly with the frequency you have in the grid. You have any problem in that? No.
No, sir. We are having the entire system of inverters and auto synchronizing systems, and that match with the frequency of the grid. So we never faced any problem regarding synchronization.
Okay, done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes, sir. Let me introduce myself first. I am M.K. Bhuya, Special Secretary from Government of Odisha. I have got 2 questions. Number 1 is whether these solar panels can be erected over earthen channels also. And the second one is, because these are erected in stretches, does it not create some obstacle in maintaining the canals? All these installations are at the top of the canal, and in that in wrong reaches, then how the maintenance of the canals are being taken up? I would like to request to throw some light in this respect.
Sir, the canal top can be installed on any canal in any direction. That is the first point. Second, talking about the maintenance of canal, this is not installed in a continuous
Akashi, what happened? Hello?
Gujarat side has been disconnected as of now.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we will share the details of speakers with you. So further discussion you can have with them. Now we'll close the session. If we have any last question.
Sir, I am audible, sir?
Yeah, audible.
Myself, Arun Kumar, Control Board, sir. I have one question, sir. The installation of the solar panel over the water body, it will affect the penetration of the sunlight in the water, and it will affect the aquatic environment also. Is this factor is considered in this project, sir? How we can save the water, the life ecosystem of the water?
Since the speaker got disconnected, so what I'll request, we will share the details of the speaker with you, so you can directly ask these questions from the speaker. So I'll request Poonamji to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you for all the participants for this wonderful session.
Thank you so much, sir. I feel very great to propose this vote of thanks to all of you. So first of all, we would like to, on behalf of DRPG and NCGG, we would like to thank both lead speakers who have given excellent, wonderful presentation on their initiatives. First of all, I would like to thank Srimati Kanchan Verma, IG Stamp and Registration. The presentation of Madam was totally, it was citizen-centric based, and we have seen in this presentation the Jan Bhagidari approach, citizen-centric approach, and the feedback taken by the villagers and the active participation of the young volunteers, NGOs and others. It was wonderful presentation, ma'am. Thank you so much. And finally, the M. Prasanna Kumar, it is very, I think it was very interactive and very participative. It is an example that so many participants have asked the questions, and they were very keen to know that what is the, I think the project initiatives and what it can be done and what are the measures and what are the objectives and what is the outcomes. So it was totally, so both of the speakers, we are very grateful and thankful to you. And we are, NCGG is very thankful to the senior administrators, especially the Kothari sir is in web room, sir. We are very, very thankful to you, sir, for patiently listening. And the secretaries and the senior administrators from the states, the district collectors, the eminent speakers, the eminent academicians from the institutions, the DRPG senior officials, especially I am very, very thankful for chairing the session, Sri Rajputji sir, and the officers from DRPG, and my team from NCGG who have done very hard work to do this. I think the both team from the DRPG and NCGG has done very excellent work in this regard. And thank you, last but not the least, the person who are working very hard behind the curtain in this web room from the NIC and other section. We are very, very grateful and thankful to you. And with this word, I would like to take leave and have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.